It started with a tiredness, that tiredness that we ignore, thinking, oh, it's just the hustle and bustle of everyday life. But this tiredness was different. It was as if I was carrying a huge weight on my back all the time, even when I wasn't doing anything. My legs felt heavy, ached, and any little incline turned into a marathon. At first, I thought it was lack of exercise, I don't know. I started drinking more coffee, trying to sleep earlier, but nothing worked. Things got worse, little by little. My nails started to look weird, kind of rounded, and my skin became pale, almost transparent. I looked at myself in the mirror and saw a washed-out version of me. Dizziness was constant, and one day at the supermarket, I almost passed out. I held onto the shopping cart to avoid falling, and the lights seemed to flicker. It was there, at that moment, feeling the cold sweat running down my forehead and the ground disappearing from under my feet, that it hit me. I needed to see a doctor. That wasn't normal. It wasn't just tiredness. Something very wrong was happening to me. Hi guys, my name is Charlotte, and I was an ordinary person. I had a job I liked, friends, family, a normal life, that life that we think will last forever. But then everything changed. Suddenly, I never imagined I would be here, recording this video, sharing this very personal story with you all. But I feel like I need to do this. I need to tell you what happened to me because maybe, just maybe, it can help someone going through the same situation, or someone ignoring the signs their body is giving. I know a lot of people don't like talking about illness, about these more delicate things. I used to be like that. I thought these things only happened to others, that I would be fine. But the truth is, no one is immune. And the more we educate ourselves, the more we take care of ourselves, the greater the chances of avoiding further suffering. I took too long to seek help. I ignored the symptoms, thought it was nothing serious, that it would go away on its own. That was my biggest mistake, and I regret it a lot. If I had seen a doctor earlier, maybe things would have been different. Maybe I wouldn't have gone through everything I went through. That's why I'm here, to share my experience, to warn you, to say that it's important to listen to your body, that it's not wrong to seek help, that it's not silly to feel pain, that our health is our most precious asset, and we need to take care of it. I hope my story serves as a lesson, as encouragement, so that you take care of yourselves and seek medical help whenever you need to. At first, everything seemed justifiable, The tiredness? Oh, it was just work stress. We live rushing, putting out fires, dealing with tight deadlines. Who doesn't feel exhausted at the end of the day? Leg pains? Blame it on the new shoes for sure. Or maybe I overdid it with the weekend walk. I always found a way to rationalize, to find a plausible explanation for every discomfort. And of course, self-medication. It was the quickest and most practical solution. Headache? A painkiller will do. Feeling unwell? A nausea pill and everything goes back to normal. For fatigue, I turned to those multivitamins that promised extra energy. It worked for a while, of course, but it was like putting a band-aid on a deep wound. The symptoms would temporarily disappear, but the real problem was still there, silently, getting worse every day. I remember buying those expensive vitamin complexes, thinking I was taking care of myself. At least I'm doing something for my health, I thought, fooling myself. I even took immunity-boosting supplements, thinking I was protecting myself from some flu or cold. But deep down, I was just masking the symptoms, postponing the moment to face reality. Routine was my biggest excuse, always racing against time, full of commitments, responsibilities. I didn't have time to go to the doctor. Oh, I'll schedule it later, when things calm down, I would say to myself. And the later never arrived. Life continued at a frantic pace and my health was put on the back burner. I prioritized work, social commitments, even household tasks. Everything was more important than taking care of myself. I believed I was strong, that I could handle anything, that my body was a perfect machine, capable of withstanding any challenge. But the truth is, I was deceiving myself. I was ignoring the signs my body was giving me and paying a high price for it. Fatigue turned into exhaustion, pains intensified, and symptoms multiplied, until there came a point where I couldn't ignore it anymore. My body was screaming for help, and I finally needed to listen. The pains became my constant companions. They were no longer just in my legs, but in all my joints, as if I had been put in a press. Sleeping became a torment. Every movement was a stab, a silent scream. I started avoiding going out with friends, making up flimsy excuses. I'm tired. I have a lot of work. I need to rest. The truth is I was ashamed of being seen that way. So weak, so limited. At work, the situation was even worse. I needed to focus, to be productive, but the pain consumed me. Meetings were torture. I could barely sit for long. The simplest tasks became a challenge. Climbing a staircase, carrying a box, typing on the computer, everything was painful, exhausting. I ended up missing a few days, saying I had the flu, but the truth is I couldn't get out of bed. My relationships began to crumble. My boyfriend Oliver tried to help me, but I pushed him away. I didn't want him to see me suffer. I didn't want to be a burden. We argued constantly, and I blamed him for things he hadn't done. He didn't understand what was happening to me, and I couldn't explain. The fear of losing him consumed me, but pride prevented me from asking for help. The activities I loved the most had become impossible. Running in the park, dancing, traveling, it was all part of a distant past. I felt trapped in a body that didn't obey me, a prison of pain and limitations. I started isolating myself, withdrawing from the world. I felt alone, misunderstood, desperate. I tried to hide it, to smile, smile, to pretend everything was fine, but it was like trying to hide the sun with a sieve. The deep circles under my eyes, the paleness, the lack of energy. Everything gave me away. People asked if I was okay, and I lied. "Yes, I'm great," I said, with a forced smile, but inside, I was falling apart. One day, at work, I needed to take some documents to another floor. I climbed the stairs slowly, legs trembling, heart racing. When I reached the top, the pain was unbearable. I leaned against the wall, trying to breathe, but the room started spinning. I felt a chill in my stomach, an inexplicable dread. I passed out right there, in the hallway. That was the last straw. That was the moment I realized I couldn't deny it anymore. I needed help. I needed to find out what was happening to me. My life was at stake. That fainting spell in the work hallway was my turning point. I woke up in the hospital, confused, surrounded by doctors and nurses. Oliver was by my side, his eyes red with worry. For the first time, I didn't push him away. On the contrary, I clung to his hand as if it were my last hope. That day, I finally decided to listen to what my body was screaming. I made an appointment with a general practitioner, armed with all my notes, the list of symptoms, the date each one started, the medications I was taking. The doctor listened attentively, asked some questions, examined me, and finally ordered a battery of tests. Blood tests, urine tests, stool tests, x-rays. I left the office feeling like a true Frankenstein, full of needles and electrodes. The wait for the results was excruciating. Each day felt like an eternity. I mentally reviewed each symptom, each pain, trying to find an explanation. I searched the internet, of course, which was a mistake. The more I read, the more terrified I became. I discovered a myriad of rare and incurable diseases, and convinced myself that I had them all. Finally, the day of the follow-up appointment arrived. I sat in the waiting room with my heart in my mouth, feeling cold sweat dripping from my hands. When the doctor called me, my legs were trembling so much that I could hardly walk. He looked at me with a serious expression and said, "Your tests indicate sickle cell anemia." That name sounded like thunder in my ears. Sickle cell anemia? What was that? I had never heard of it before. The doctor started to explain, but I could barely pay attention. The words genetic disease, sickle-shaped cells, pain crises, complications echoed in my mind like a skipping record. I felt the world crashing down around me. I left the office in a state of shock. That diagnosis was like a sentence of pain, suffering, and uncertainty. What would my future be like? Could I have children? Could I work? Could I have a normal life? Doubts consumed me. Anger, sadness, fear, a mix of feelings invaded me. Why me? What had I done to deserve this? The injustice of the situation enraged me. I called Oliver and he came to pick me up. On the way home, I cried uncontrollably, unable to say a word. He hugged me tight, and I felt a little safer, a little less alone. That night, I couldn't sleep. I spent hours in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to process what was happening. Sickle cell anemia was now a part of me, a shadow that would follow me forever, but I couldn't let it define me. I needed to find strength to fight, to move forward, to live. The treatment began almost immediately. A whirlwind of appointments, tests, blood transfusions. My life turned upside down. The doctors explained that there was no cure, but that it was possible to control the disease and relieve the symptoms. The main goal was to prevent pain crises, which were caused by the blocking of blood vessels by sickle cells. The first medication they prescribed me was hydroxyurea. At first, I felt hopeful, but soon the side effects started to appear. Nausea, vomiting, extreme fatigue. It was like I was constantly having the flu. Gradually, my hair started falling out and my skin became dry and sensitive. I felt ugly, weak, defenseless. Blood transfusions became routine. Every 2 weeks, I needed to go to the hospital to receive a new blood dose. The needle pricks in the vein were painful, and allergic reactions were frequent. I had chills, fever, itching. It was torment. The pain crises were the worst of all. They would start suddenly, as a sharp stabbing pain, and would spread throughout the body. Joints would swell, skin would become hot and red, and the pain would become unbearable. In those moments, all I could do was go to the hospital, where they would give me strong painkillers and IV fluids. Hospital admissions became frequent, and I would spend long periods in the hospital, away from my family, my friends, my work. One of the worst crises I had was when I needed to undergo surgery to remove my gallbladder. Sickle cell anemia had caused gallstones, and the pain was so intense that I couldn't eat or drink anymore. The surgery was risky, and I spent several days in the ICU, fighting for my life. Dealing with the changes in my body was difficult. Hair loss made me depressed, and extreme fatigue prevented me from doing the things I loved. I could no longer run, dance, travel. My life was reduced to medical appointments, tests, and medications. Many times I felt discouraged, hopeless. I thought about giving up, surrendering to the illness. But then I remembered the support of my family, my friends, the medical team. They were my strength, my motivation to keep going. My mother Victoria was always by my side, taking me to appointments, helping me with household chores, showing me love and attention. Oliver was my safe haven, embracing me in moments of pain, listening to me vent, reminding me that I was strong and capable of overcoming any obstacle. The doctors and nurses at the hospital became my friends, treating me with care and respect, giving me hope and encouraging me to fight. The support of these people helped me keep the faith and and move forward. I learned to live with sickle cell anemia, to accept my limitations, to cherish every day, every moment. I discovered that life is a precious gift, and it is worth fighting for. I understood that money can't buy health. Millionaire or poor, blood does not obey money. Sickle cell anemia does not choose color, race, or social class. It just happens, and it is up to us to face it with courage and determination. And today, I am here, recording this video, to share my story and inspire others to do the same. If you have been diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, or you know someone who has been, know that you are not alone. There are many people who care about you and are willing to help you. Seek support, educate yourself about the disease, follow the treatment correctly, and never lose hope. Life can be tough, but it can also be beautiful, and you deserve to live it fully. Often, people confuse terminal illness with palliative care, and it is important to clarify this difference. Terminal illness means that the disease is in an advanced and incurable stage, and life expectancy is limited. Palliative care, on the other hand, is an approach aimed at improving the quality of life of patients and their families facing a serious illness, whether curable, incurable, or terminal. It is not about giving up or hastening the dying process, but rather about offering comfort, pain relief, and emotional support so that the patient can live as best as possible, regardless of the time left. Being in palliative care does not mean it's the end of the line. On the contrary, it means you are receiving comprehensive care focused on your physical, emotional, social, and spiritual needs. The palliative care team consists of doctors, nurses, psychologists, social workers, occupational therapists, and other professionals who work together to provide a personalized care plan that meets your specific needs. The main goal of palliative care is to improve the quality of life for the patient. This includes relief from pain and other uncomfortable symptoms such as nausea, shortness of breath, fatigue, and insomnia. The team also provides emotional support for the patient and their family, helping them cope with fear, anxiety, sadness, and other difficult feelings. In addition, palliative care addresses social and spiritual issues such as financial planning, advanced directives, and the search for meaning and purpose in life. In my case, palliative care was crucial in helping me manage the symptoms of sickle cell anemia and improve my quality of life. The pain crises were so intense that they prevented me from doing the things I loved. The palliative care team taught me relaxation and breathing techniques, prescribed medications to control the pain, and helped me find alternative therapies that provided me relief. In addition to conventional treatments, I tried some alternative therapies that greatly helped me cope with the symptoms and stress of the disease. Meditation, for example, helped me calm the mind, reduce anxiety, and connect with my inner self. I practiced guided meditation every day, which helped me relax and focus on the present moment. Yoga was also very beneficial for me. Yoga poses helped me stretch my muscles, relieve tension, and improve my flexibility. Moreover, yoga provided me a sense of well-being and connection with my body. Acupuncture was another therapy that I tried and that brought me a lot of relief. The thin and delicate needles placed in specific points of my body helped me to reduce the pain, improve blood circulation, and balance my energy. These alternative therapies, combined with conventional palliative care, helped me to cope with the symptoms of sickle cell anemia and improve my quality of life. I learned that it is important to take care of the body, mind, and spirit, and that there are many tools available to help us find balance and well-being. Palliative care is not about giving up, but about living as best as possible, with dignity, comfort, and love. And then, just when I thought I was finally finding a new normal, life gave me another blow: the relapse. The word echoed in my mind like a sentence, as cruel as the initial diagnosis. It was as if everything I had achieved, all the strength I had gathered, had been in vain. The fatigue returned, more intense, more relentless. The pains, which I struggled so hard to control, became more frequent, more piercing. New symptoms began to appear, subtle at first, but soon intensified. Shortness of breath, persistent cough, unexplained weight loss. That familiar fear, which I worked so hard to keep at bay, resurfaced with full force, paralyzing me. The tests were repeated, endless, and torturous. The wait for the results was a constant agony, a torment that consumed me from within. And then, the confirmation: metastasis. The disease had spread to other organs, making the treatment even more challenging. The feeling was that everything was starting over, that I was back to square one. The frustration was immense. Anger was eating me up from the inside. So many struggles, so much suffering, only to end up back at square one. It was unfair, cruel, incomprehensible. The fear of death, which I had been trying so hard to ignore, became a constant presence, looming over me like a shadow. The thought of leaving the people I love, of missing out on so many experiences, terrified me. Sleepless nights, obsessive thoughts, crying spells, the anguish consumed me from within. But amidst the despair, a voice whispered inside me, "Don't give up. You are strong. You've overcome so much. You can do this." And I clung to that voice, as if it were my lifeline. I decided not to let fear overcome me, not to allow the illness to define me. I decided to fight with all my might, to do everything in my power to prolong my life and live each moment with intensity. I sought psychological support. I talked to therapists who helped me deal with my emotions emotions, to process my fear, to accept my new reality. I started meditating, practicing yoga, connecting with my spirituality. I found comfort and strength in faith, in prayer, in the belief that there is something greater than me, that protects and guides me. I got even closer to my family, my friends, the people who love me and support me. I shared my fears, my anxieties, my joys. I received so much affection, so much understanding, so much love. And above all, I learned to live in the present, to cherish every smile, every hug, every ray of sunshine, to appreciate the little things in life that used to go unnoticed, to feel gratitude for each day, for each opportunity to love and be loved. I still have fear, of course. Death remains a real possibility, but I don't allow it to paralyze me. I decided that I will live each day as if it were my last, that I will seize every moment with intensity, that I will love with all my might. Life is a precious gift, and no matter how much time we have left, the important thing is to make the most of it. Fight, love, smile, cry, live intensely, and never ever lose hope. I learned the hard way that now is all we really have. The past, no matter how beautiful or painful it may have been, is gone. The future, no matter how promising it may seem, is just a mirage, an uncertain possibility. The present, the present is the only moment we can touch, feel, truly live. Before, I lived on autopilot, always chasing something, always worried about tomorrow, never allowing myself to appreciate today. I dreamed of the promotion at work, of the dream trip, of the own house, and I forgot to be happy in the present. Illness forced me to stop, to slow down, to open my eyes to the beauty that surrounded me. I discovered that happiness is not in big achievements, but in small moments. In my son's smile, in my love's hug, in the family breakfast, in the sunset at the beach, in the conversation with a dear friend. These little things give meaning to life, fill the heart with joy, make us feel alive. My favorite activities became even more special. Reading a good book, listening to the sound of rain, became a sacred ritual. Walking in the park, feeling the wind on my face and the smell of nature became a revitalizing therapy. Cooking for the people I love, experiencing new flavors and sharing moments of joy became a way to express my love. Illness taught me to value relationships, to express my feelings, to be grateful for life. Before, I struggled to say I love you, to show my affection, to forgive those who hurt me. Today, I'm no longer afraid to be vulnerable, to show who I really am. I learned that love is the most powerful feeling in the world, capable of healing the wounds of the soul, strengthening bonds, giving us hope. Illness taught me to prioritize what really matters, to let go of unnecessary worries, petty quarrels, trivialities, not to care about what others think, to follow my heart, to be true to myself. I discovered that life is too short to be wasted on things that don't bring us joy, don't make us grow, don't make us well. I learned to say no to things that overwhelm me, that drain my energy, that distance me from the people I love. I learned to say yes to things that inspire me, that challenge me, that make me feel alive. I learned to take care of myself, to love myself, to value myself. Illness has transformed me into a better person, stronger, more resilient, more compassionate, more grateful, more mindful, happier. I thank God for each day, for each opportunity to learn, to grow, to love. And I ask Him to give me strength to keep fighting, to move forward, to live each moment intensely. Life is a precious gift, and no matter what our limitations, our difficulties, our challenges may be, the key is to make the most of it. Love, smile, dance, sing, hug, forgive, be grateful, and never ever lose hope, because hope is the last to die, and it is the beacon that guides us in moments of darkness. Life and death, two sides of the same coin, inseparable, inevitable. Before the illness, I saw them as distant concepts, abstract, something to be pondered in the future, far away preferably. Life was a relentless race for achievements, for goals, for an ideal of happiness that always seemed unattainable. Death was the end, the period, the fear that hung over each of us, but that we tried to ignore as much as possible. Illness brought me closer to death, made me face its reality head-on. For the first time, I felt its threatening presence, its cold shadow, its deafening silence. I was afraid, very afraid. Afraid of leaving the people I love, of missing out on the opportunity to experience so many things, of not having time to fulfill my dreams. But paradoxically, illness also brought me closer to life. It made me appreciate every moment, every smile, every hug, every ray of sunshine. It taught me to cherish the small things, to feel gratitude for each day, for each opportunity to love and be loved. It showed me that life is a precious gift that should be lived intensely, with joy, with passion, with purpose. Illness transformed me into a stronger, more resilient, more compassionate person. I learned to deal with pain, with suffering, with uncertainty. I discovered that I am capable of enduring much more than I imagined, that I have an inner strength that drives me forward, even when everything seems to be falling apart around me. I learned to have more empathy for people who suffer, to understand their pains, to offer my support, my affection, my understanding. I discovered that solidarity is one of the noblest feelings of the human being, capable of transforming the world into a better place. The legacy I want to leave is that of a person who fought with all her might, who never gave up on her dreams, who loved intensely, who lived fully. I want to be remembered as someone who inspired others to take care of their health, to value life, life, to be happy. I want my story to serve as an example, as encouragement, as hope for those who are facing similar challenges. I want them to know that they are not alone, that there are many people who care about them, who are willing to help them. I want them to believe in their inner strength, to trust in their ability to overcome any obstacle, to never lose faith. Life is a precious gift, and we should make the most of it. Take care of your health, nourish your body with healthy foods, exercise your mind with new knowledge, strengthen your spirit with faith and hope. Love the people around you, show your affection, forgive offenses, smile, dance, sing, hug, kiss, live intensely. And remember, hope is the last thing to die. Never lose faith, believe in your dreams, follow your heart. Life can be difficult, but it can also be beautiful, and you deserve to live it fully. If you are going through a tough time, seek help. Do not be ashamed to ask for support. There are many qualified professionals willing to help you overcome challenges and find the path to happiness. Take care of yourself, love your life, and never give up on being happy. For those facing challenges similar to mine, I want to leave a message of hope and encouragement. Do not give in to despair. Do not be overwhelmed by fear. Believe in your inner strength, trust in your ability to overcome any obstacle. Seek support, learn about your illness, follow the treatment correctly, and never lose faith. Life can be difficult, but it can also be beautiful, and you deserve to live it fully. Remember, you are not alone, and hope is the beacon that guides us in moments of darkness. If there is one lesson I carry with me, it is the importance of listening to our bodies. It speaks, whispers, shouts, if necessary, but we are often too busy to listen. Believe me, every sign, every little pain, every unusual fatigue deserves our attention. Do not ignore, do not minimize, do not get used to discomfort. Health is our most precious asset, and neglecting it can have consequences we never imagined. Prevention is key. Regular checkups, routine exams, healthy habits, all of this makes a difference. Early diagnosis can change the course of a disease, offering more chances of treatment and cure. Do not be afraid to seek medical help. Do not feel guilty for taking care of yourselves. On the contrary, prioritize your health, invest in your well-being. If by any chance life presents you with a difficult diagnosis, as it happened to me, do not despair. Keep calm, take deep breaths, and seek information. Knowledge is power, and knowing what is happening with your body is the first step to facing the illness with courage and determination. Believe in medicine, trust the doctors, follow the treatment correctly, but above all, trust in yourselves. Believe in your inner strength, in your ability to overcome any obstacle. Feed your faith, nurture hope, surround yourselves with love. The support of family, friends, and the community is essential. Do not isolate yourselves. Do not shut yourselves off. Share your anxieties, your doubts, your joys. Receive the affection and strength of those who love you. And remember, you are not alone. Life is a gift, a miracle, a unique opportunity. No matter how much time we have left, what matters is to enjoy every moment with intensity, with gratitude, with love. Smile, hug, kiss, sing, dance, love, be happy, and never, ever lose hope. I thank each and every one of you who has accompanied me this far. I thank my family, my friends, the doctors and nurses who took care of me with such care. I thank God for life, for strength, for faith. And I thank you who have inspired me to share my story and convey a message of love and hope. Believe in the power of life, appreciate every moment, and never give up on being happy. Love heals, love transforms, love saves, and love is within each of us.